All right, what's going on, everybody? Fast cars, fast money. Hopefully, you guys just got done watching our truck series video breaking down the gateway race for Friday. If not, it is live up on our YouTube channel along with our cup video as well. But for this one, we're talking about the Xfinity series, and the Xfinity series and the Cup series are over at Michigan International Speedway this weekend, which is completely different than what the trucks are running, which is over at Gateway. Gateway is a smaller, shorter, kind of flatter track, very similar to Richmond, where Michigan is huge. It's like 2 miles in length. They're flat out the entire time. Drafting is really important. Aerodynamics, really, really wide track. So with that being said, the equipment is really the key factor here. A lot of these smaller teams are just going to get annihilated this weekend. I mean, they're not, it's not even going to be close. These top teams, the performance, the equipment is just going to really show, the gap, I guess, between some of these smaller teams and some of these larger teams. But it's 125 laps, so dominator points aren't like super important. Usually we see 1 to 2 guys kind of dominate the race, but you still want to try to target those guys, obviously. And we'll be telling you here in a second who we think those dominator plays are going to be. But we got Coop on the podcast here again. So we're going to start with you, Coop. Looking at the top guys, who do you think are going to be those top plays? Who are you targeting as a potential dominator for this weekend?
Yeah, Gibbs and Cindric are my favorite again for this race. I just think they have the most potential to lead laps. Um, I will say that I don't mind the Reddick play either, though. I think he's got a good shot at um, getting the most out of his equipment. And I think he's got, out of everybody in the field, probably the best chance of doing that. And so I don't mind him starting 22. It gives you a little PD. But for my dominators, I'd really like to grab Gibbs and or Cindric. Um, Gibbs is a little more expensive there because he does offer those place differential points, but I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. I think both of them are probably have a good chance of leading some laps, and I like both a lot this week.
Yeah, I do too. And this range is interesting because you have some, really good place differential plays up here. You have some really clear, dominator, lap leader plays, and then you kind of have some that have a little bit of both. So it's really up to you what direction you want to go, what direction you think is going to make the most sense. I was a little surprised seeing Bubba Wallace priced as expensive as he was. I think for cash games, you could still consider him, but he's not going to lead you any laps. He's not going to run any fast laps. He's not going to earn any dominator points. Whereas Ty Gibbs is cheaper. We've seen this car win multiple times already this year. The equipment is even better than the equipment that Bubba Wallace is going to be running. So I love Ty Gibbs. He's probably my favorite play on the slate, just because he has dominator upside and place differential upside, but not far behind. And if I can play both of them together, I'm going to. Would be Austin Cindric. He's in the Team Penske Ford. This team has a lot of money behind it. The equipment is top tier. I would say it's Cindric and Gibbs. Those are really the two guys I think you want to target. And if somehow you're able to get Tyler Reddick in there as a good place differential play, by all means, go ahead and do it. But if I'm paying all the way up for the 10K and the 11K range, I really want to get those guys who can lead laps. And I think Gibbs and Cindric are going to be the two guys there. But if you only want to play one of them and maybe grab a place differential play or maybe be a little bit different, I don't mind some of these 9K guys. Daniel Hemrick is in the same equipment as Ty Gibbs. He's cheaper, doesn't start as far back as Ty Gibbs, and probably doesn't have the same amount of upside. But he's been running well and running fast laps all year long. And the equipment is the same. You could make the same argument for Harrison Burton. Both of them should come in under owned compared to Ty Gibbs, but I still think Ty Gibbs is a better play. Brandon Jones, again, if I like Hemrick, if I like Burton, if I like Gibbs, I'm going to like Brandon Jones in the same equipment. And he starts 24th, so it's a good place differential play to pair with those lap leaders. And then Barry and Gregson, the JRM cars are okay. I just feel more confident about the JGR cars this weekend. But I think kind of like our truck series video, I don't think you can really go wrong with the 9K range. But is there any guys that you like kind of more than the others here, Coop?
I like Brandon Jones a lot just because of just what you said. He's got the equipment and he's got the place differential built in. I'm not as high on Hemrick and Burton. I'd rather go down to Jones or If I'm in a GPP line, I don't mind Gragson. I would never play him in cash, but as a GPP play, you're getting a discount off of those other guys, and you're really looking for Hemrick, Burton, or Gragson to maybe lead you a few laps. And I think Gragson has the best chance at that. So I don't mind that price tag for a GPP line if you're looking at him to lead a couple laps. But I think Jones is the one that I'm targeting in the range. And I think you can say the same thing about Allmendinger as you can say about Gragson. I think it's GPP only, and I think it's just for in case he gets out in front of Cindric and leads a good portion of the race and then gives you a good finish at the end. I don't think Haley can do that, so I don't have any interest in Haley. And I also don't really have much interest in Mayer or Burton either. The other driver that I do have interest with in this round is Brett Moffitt. Starting 20th, he's put together another sneaky season, and I think that he, at the $8,100 price tag, I think that's a good value for him starting 20th. So I do really like Brett Moffitt.
Yeah, I love Moffitt too this weekend. I mean, the argument that I was making is he's in the same equipment as Tyler Reddick. He basically starts right next to him. Reddick starts 22nd, Moffitt starts 20th, and Moffitt's $3,000 cheaper than Reddick. So both of them, again, are probably only going to be place differential plays, but I'd much rather pay down and get basically the same amount of upside and place differential with Moffitt than pay all the way up and get Reddick and potentially lose out on a lap leader like Cindric or Gibbs or maybe someone else who you feel confident leading laps. So I like Moffitt a lot as kind of like a value place differential play. The other guy I like a lot as a value play would be Brandon Brown, $7,600 starting 25th. The equipment isn't as good as the top tier teams, but it's significantly better than most of the field. I mean, this is a, cut line, cutoff line, playoff caliber, contending team. So starting 25th, he gives you some place differential upside. Same with Ryan Sieg. I just feel a little bit more confident about Brandon Brown. And then Jordan Anderson, I guess you can kind of throw him into that equation as well. We've seen Josh Berry in this car. We've seen Tyler Reddick in this car. When you throw those good drivers in there, this is a top 15 car. Now, every time that Anderson's been in there, it hasn't run nearly as well, but we know that the potential is there. Starting 31st, he's really not going to hurt your line too much either. I just feel like Brandon Brown probably has the most upside of the three, but I don't think any of them are really going to hurt your lines at all. I would feel, I'd feel good about having any of those guys in my lines. But outside of those three, or maybe looking at those three, Coop, how would you kind of rank them?
I think I would rank them Sieg, Brown, Anderson. However, wherever you end up in your line, I'd be fine with all three. I think they're all fine plays, just like you mentioned. Really don't have anything against any of them, but I think especially in a GPP line, I'd probably lean towards Sieg. In a cash line, maybe I'd lean towards Brown, but wouldn't mind Anderson in either line either. Going down, a driver here that I don't mind, two drivers actually, are Howard and Starr, just because they can't hurt your line. And I think they should move forward a little bit. We've seen both of them have top 25 potential. And I think for the price, if you're going $6,500, that's what you're looking for, is for them to get you a little bit of PD in a top 25. And I think it's possible. So I don't mind either of those plays. And once you're getting down this far, I'm really probably aiming towards PD. So those are probably the two favorite drivers in this range.
Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, they start at the tail end of the field. They shouldn't have mechanical issues, but you never know with some of these kind of more back marker teams. If everything goes their way, and if there are a couple of wrecks, like a top 25 is not out of question for either of those drivers. The only reason I put low interest for both of them there, it's a little expensive, I feel like, to pay for that equipment. I'd much rather go down and grab Colin Garrett there in the 26, Sam Hunt Racing Toyota. He starts 29th, so he doesn't have the same amount of maybe safety that a Howard or Starr does. I just feel like his finishing potential is going to be higher than what Starr or Howard could offer you there. And then the ugly punts, the 5,800 and down. I don't know. I mean, like I was saying, Michigan, you're basically full throttle the entire time. a lot of these cars are going to kind of get, you know, laps down. They're going to be irrelevant for most of it. But I don't mind Tommy Joe Martins. I think that team's taking a significant leap this year, equipment wise. You know, last year we saw this car failing all the time, always getting the wrecks, mechanical issues. Where this year that's really not the case. I think he can finish right around where he starts. So he's probably a GPP only punt play, and then maybe a, depending on how you categorize safe. I wouldn't mind either Bailey Curry or Ryan Vargas. Curry starts basically dead last. If this car doesn't have a mechanical issue, top 25 is not out of question. It's just, will that car stay together? And then ironically, Ryan Vargas, he's really cheap. If you look at his finishes, at least recently, he's been putting together some top 20 finishes in there, which is surprising because normally it's a driver you would, glance over. Starts really deep in the field. He's really cheap. So maybe you plug him in there knowing that, hey, he's not going to give me a ton of points, but it saves me a lot of money. And then I can really stack my other 5 drivers. So if you need a punt play, those are probably the guys that I highlighted there who I'm going to be going with. But anyone that you like, Coop, kind of outside of David Starr and Howard, once you get kind of even lower on the slate?
I like Buford. I think him down there with Tommy Joe, I think they're similar plays, and I slightly prefer Jade there. But I think once you get down this far, you're pretty much just shooting for the stars. And I think if I was going to do that, it would be Buford there. He's been putting together a few nice races down the stretch here, just like Tommy Joe. And I think that he has the skill to finish right around where he's starting there. Maybe he can move a couple spots forward, and for 5,500, I feel that that's a fair price. So he's probably my favorite out of the range, but I don't mind all the other guys you mentioned if you have to go down this far either.
All right, awesome. And if you guys want to pull this up later, or you want our final thoughts, because some of this potentially might change before the slate locks on Saturday, but for all of our final thoughts, you can get them over on our Twitter. It's on our screen there, but it's at FastCarsFM. Post a spreadsheet there, the link to the video. And it's a good way to interact with us too. If you're like, hey, should I play this driver or maybe this guy? We'll kind of give you our opinions there. Hopefully, lean you in the right direction. But that'll do it for the Xfinity video, and we will catch you over on the Cup one.